Hello, and welcome to Guitar Teacher's Heaven. My name is Alex Palmer, and for the last few years I've been creating original guitar lessons using a program called Guitar Pro 6. I've been sharing these lessons online and getting a decent response, so I've decided to compile 50 of my favorite lessons into one archive that's available for free download on Google Drive. So if you are a fan of guitar, if you play guitar recreationally or professionally, or if you're a guitar teacher, you are in the right place because there's a ton of information here for you, free resources, and we're going to have a really great time together. So I'm going to present this archive in 4 YouTube videos, and this is the first of those 4. So today we're looking at the songs and jingles section. So this will be light and fun, and there's no fluff in this entire archive. Everything is here for a reason, and everything will make you a better player, I promise. So one last thing to address, I should note that I am currently tuned down half a step. So in each of these videos, if you want to play along, you'll have to tune down half a step because that's where I'm always at. But just so you know, when you go to download the guitar profiles, you'll find that they are all indeed set to standard tuning. So I hope that's clear, and let's get going. This is the first lesson of 50, the Tim Hortons jingle. Alright, so this jingle has been around probably as long as I've been alive, and it's great for beginners because it does something special. It forces the player to use their pinky on this note. And I feel like for the first year or so, when I was learning guitar, I wouldn't use my pinky at all. I was always using the ring and middle and index, but it's tough to get the pinky involved. So this is great for beginners for 2 reasons. 1, it gets the pinky going, and 2, it's something that they've heard before, especially if they're in Canada. Okay, so have fun with this one. I think it's a great introduction for any player. And also I should note these are pull-offs here. You don't have to pull off, but it's there if you want to. You could also pull off these 2 notes, but I didn't notate that. Okay, this is the Addams Family theme. And this is a great song to know because everybody knows it somehow. I guess they were big in the 90s with television and movies, etc. So this is a great song because what it does on guitar is it takes your instrument from just being a melody or harmony instrument. It introduces this percussive element, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I perform this. So I'll play it and then I'll say a few more words about it. So these little dots up here are not just random dots. Those are staccati, and what they're doing is telling you not to play this note for its full duration. It means you want to go do-do-do, do-do-do-do. So it just means you want to hit it deliberately, but you don't want to sustain it because it will sound a little weird. So I thought it would be nice to introduce staccati at this point. And these X's that you're seeing, those are called dead notes. So what I'm doing to achieve that effect is I'm resting my left hand, my fretting hand, over all 6 strings. And you just sort of want to dampen the strings without pushing so hard that you're fretting anything. You don't want anything to speak. So what you're doing with your hand dampening the strings, you'll take your right hand with your pick and do 2 firm downstrokes. But you're only going to aim for string 6, 5, 4, okay? So you have to be deliberate. You need to know what you're doing and hit it with intention, and it will sound really cool. Your audience will find this just really enjoyable. It's a great song to learn no matter what skill level you're at. So give it a shot. Okay, here's a song that you've heard if you live in Canada, because we currently have one Major League Baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays, and they seem to only ever be aired on Sportsnet. They have a monopoly on the baseball industry in Canada, it seems. So anytime that you watch a Blue Jays game, you're going to hear this song. Okay, so there are a few variations on this, but this will be enough to impress your friends. If you play this during the playoffs or whatever, you'll definitely get the affections of your friends. And this is, again, I put staccato on a few of these notes. These are staccato notes. And there's sort of a feel change. You'll notice, so I put 2-4 and then it switches to 4-4. And you'll really feel that when you hear the original version. So I hope this isn't too obscure if you're not in Canada, but I've included it because I'm in Canada and I'm happy and proud to be here. So that's the Blue Jays theme on Sportsnet. Okay, here's a song that I wrote a couple of years ago and I'll be releasing it this summer. This is the first etude of a collection of 11 that I've written, and it's extremely scalar. There's a lot of shifting going on here. And this one is called Publish or Get Crunched. Alright, so a few things to mention here. This is the first time today that we've seen picking directions. So these little 3/4 square things is telling you that's a downstroke, and when you see these V's, that's an upstroke. So downstroke means down to the earth, upstroke is up towards your chin, okay? And what else do I want to say? Here I wrote pick one. So here you see I've notated 2 melody lines. And this isn't intended to be played together. I know these look like chords, but if you play these as chords, it will sound choppy and truncated. So I said pick one. I would learn both. And it's a great teaching tool to see how it looks in 2 different octaves, 2 different registers. But I always play the lower register, because I like the sort of change from being up so high. I think it's a great way to finish this piece, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it. And just a quick word about the title, Publish or Get Crunched. It's a play on the academic saying, publish or perish, and it's sort of a dilemma that I face every day. I've put a spin on it where, do you publish? Do you do work? Do you do this sort of thing and publish your work? Or do you get crunched? Do you do crunches and exercise and work out and tend to the needs of the body? So it's sort of a dilemma that I face every day. Do I do work today, or do I focus on myself today? So that's a dilemma that maybe you can relate to as a professional musician. Okay, this is inspiration number 1. This is the first of 11 etudes that I released on January 1st, 2014. This is Sorry I'm Late, I Was Flexing. just gorgeous. I was so happy when I figured that out. I just think it sounds so nice. So that's why it is the first of 11 etudes. I think it's just a really nice introduction to this collection. And one thing to mention, this is the first time we've seen this little thing. It's called a fermata, which means that you hold this note for as long as you want, basically. You wouldn't hold it forever, but it's just a way of me indicating to you that you should not cut this right off. You should let it swell and enjoy it, and let your audience enjoy it too. And by the way, this one's in the key of E. The one that we just played is in the key of G. Okay? So moving on to another thing that I wrote. Over the holidays this year, I took a break from guitar. I didn't play for about a week because of family duties, etc. And I find when you take a break from guitar, it's nice to sort of reorient yourself, and instead of playing something that you've played a million times, try something completely new. So I don't know what came over me, but these chords felt really nice under my hand. And this is the first finger picking that we're going to do today. So you can put your pick down, and this is also the first time that we've seen fingering. So finger 1 is your index. Number 2 here means your middle finger. If you see a 3, that indicates your ring finger, and 4 is your pinky. So this is the first song of the year. Okay, so short and sweet, a descending chord line, and there was something about that that was just really setting the mood at the start of this year. So have some fun with that one. And in a similar vein, here is a Jazzy Chord Run. I wrote this, I think, near the end of last summer, and these chords just sound really nice. I love these chords, so let's go ahead and play it. Now I'm going to repeat it, but this time I'm going to do one thing different. See this 4? We just fell down to the 2. This time I'm going to play a 6 here. So instead of resolving this to the root note E, we're going to end on the major third, so the G sharp. It's just so beautiful. I could play that 100 times, but we have to move on, I'm sad to say. And I just want to also mention that if you end on the E, it sounds very complete and finished. But if you do what I just did and end on a fret 6 here, it sounds finished, but it also sounds like it's moving somewhere. Okay? So try both of them and see which you prefer. Now, this was a real hit. I just posted this a month or two ago. I was playing guitar. In case you're wondering, I should have mentioned this right off the bat. I'm performing today on a Godin electric guitar. It's called an LGX SA. And this has been my go-to guitar for 10 years or more. I absolutely love this thing. But I also have a backup guitar. It's an Epiphone Les Paul. It's sort of my backup around the house guitar. If anyone's over and they want to play a guitar, I'll let them play that one, you know. So I guess I was playing guitar in the living room and Jeopardy was coming on, and I decided to figure out the theme. So this theme you'll hear at the start and end of the show, and also before the final bonus round. This is what they play. And this is really cool because this gives me an opportunity to introduce a musical concept called a modulation. And in this case, what's happening is the melody plays in one key, okay? And then the same melody is raised a major third. So we're in the key of C, and then we end up in the key of E. So this is really cool because it creates a tension without having to change the melody at all. So the melody is basically the same, but now it's up the neck. It's shorter frequencies, and so it sounds different. Well, it sounds the same because it is the same, but it sounds different because we're in a different position of the neck, or of the musical range, okay? So it's just a neat little effect. And so if you see down here, I put perform 12 frets higher on electric guitar. So I put the little asterisk. So if you're on electric guitar, you can play this whole section up 12 frets, where basically you're just adding the number 12 to each of these. So this would be 12, 13, 12, 15, okay? And then this you can also play up 12 frets if you're on electric. But this righteous horn swell that you hear at the end of the episode, I didn't put the asterisk here because you wouldn't really want to play this so high up the neck because it will sound really strange. So I'll play this twice. First as you see it here, exactly as it is, and then I'll play it up 12 frets. And now up 12 frets, and a little faster. And so that one's a lot of fun, and it allows you to introduce the concept of modulation to your students. And what else do I want to say? Oh, this, I should have put the picking direction here, because if you don't know what you're doing, this will be fairly strange. So you hold this swell, and then it's down, up, down, up, down, down, down. So this is basically alternate picking for the rhythm that this is. So down, up, down, up, down, down, down. Down, up, down, up, down, down. All right, so have fun with that, and you can play it along with the TV show when it's on. Okay, here is probably my favorite lesson in this entire section. This is a song by Johann Sebastian Bach. I'm a big fan of this guy. His artistic output is absolutely stunning, and it's great music for when you're working outside and when you have stuff to do. It's just nice to put on because it's like cogs in a machine. It just, everything falls together, and I'm a really big fan of this guy. So this is part of a song. He has a song called, this is actually called Jesus, Joy of Man's Desiring, but I've cleaned it up a bit, and I've put it into a C major position. So there are finger-picking arrangements of this song that are in the key of G. I believe this song is originally in the key of G. But what I've done here is just raised it. Again, we've modulated. There's that word again. We took the G major melody and we've modulated it up a fourth to C major. And the reason why this feels really good is because we can end on this really nice C major chord. So I'm going to play this, and this is such a pleasure to play. Lovely. I just love playing that song. Sometimes if I write a lot of lyrics with my guitar, so I end up doing a lot of strumming. And sometimes when I just want to break and I want to just sort of collect myself, I'll stop whatever I'm doing, whatever key I'm in, it doesn't matter, and I'll just play through this really quick and just sort of check in with myself. And when I first posted this, I guess at the end of 2015, I wrote something silly like, play this for your girlfriend's parents, or like learn this for her parents. And I was just sort of making a joke because this is the sort of song that you could play for anyone of any age, children, grandparents, parents, anyone will hear this and say, boy, that's a nice melody. Those guitar lessons are really paying off. So I would learn this one right now. Pause the video if you must. I love playing this song. But sadly, we have to move on. Okay, Metronome. This is a file that I can't perform today because there's no music. But I wanted to include this in the archive because as a Guitar Pro file, this can become very helpful because I always have Guitar Pro open anyway. So if I ever want a metronome, I just open up my file and I can mess around with a metronome. Now there's two really nice things about Guitar Pro. Down here is a button, roughly here, that will allow you to change the tempo. So you can set this to whatever you want. And also up here, there is a button that allows you to change the time signature. So if you want to try out a different feel, if you want to put something in 3/4, 6/8, 7/8, if you want to just see how things feel, this could be a really fun document to mess around with. So this helps me personally when I'm deciding to record a song and I need to know what tempo I'm playing at. I don't usually play with a metronome. I usually just write songs and feel them and enjoy them. But when I do want to settle on a tempo marking, it's nice to have a tool like this just to figure out what you want to settle on. Okay, so I wanted to include that, and it's a gift as just a nice little tool that you can have in your files. All right, back to something silly. Let's see, 2016. So yeah, at the end of last summer, Mr. Clean sort of revamped their commercial, and they put a bunch of lyrics with their melody. But this is a very famous melody. I've heard this many times in my life, so let's give it a shot. Alright, so the fingering is there. Shouldn't be any questions about that, but this is the first time that we've seen these little guys, and these are known as accents. So I don't want you to get distracted by these sort of pickup notes. I really want to hear this pulse all the way through. Do 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 do. Okay, so even though this is just sort of a silly commercial, song from a commercial, you can use this as a guitar teacher to really explain pulse and to make sure that your student is playing accurately in time. Okay, so make sure you hit those accents. Moving on now. This is the only song that I've included that's an actual song. It's an actual pop song. I was born and raised on Phil Collins, so it seems fitting that I would include a song of his. So I'm just going to go ahead and play this, and hope you enjoy. So the fingering's there, the picking is all there, there shouldn't be any questions, but I should tell you that I actually just performed this a fret higher than you see here. Because since I'm tuned down, this is notated for if you were in standard tuning. So because I'm tuned down, I'm going to play it up half a step so that it sounds like it does on the recording. So this is just a fun song, and the guitar certainly plays this. I don't know if the bass does, but I put guitar and bass part because you'll notice that we never go higher than the G string. See, this is the highest we go. So this sort of riff only occupies the strings that the bass has. So if you want to play this on bass, I think it would sound really cool. So give it a shot. All right, this is a fun little song, and I don't know what it's called. If you listen to, or if you watch like a baseball or a hockey game or anything like that, you're going to hear the song played on organ, but honestly, I don't know what it's called. So I'll play it for you, and I'm sure you've heard it before. Right? Like you've heard that before, I'm sure. And if you know what that song's called, I would love to know. So please let me know. I'm very curious, but I think it looks funny here. I just called this sports song. It's really hard to look up a song when it's just a melody. You know, it's hard to type in, like, what's that song that you always hear on organ at sporting events? So I just called this sports song on organ for guitar. So this is an open position, which first time I've said this today, I'm sure. And what that means is that our hand is close to the nut and that we're including open strings. So you see a lot of zeros in the tablature here. So that's what open position means. Now, moving on to the next lesson, it's actually the same song, but up an octave and into a closed position. So I'll play this. And as a teacher, if you wanted, you could sort of make your student figure this out on his or her own by saying, all right, Billy or Johnny or Leslie, bring this home and see if you can take this open position melody and raise it an octave. Okay, and so you could get them started, but it's just a way to sort of visualize a closed position versus this open position that we started with. And one last thing, I'm sort of explaining both of these files at the same time, but here I wrote slide or don't. So here we are in the lower position, and the slide sounds really cool here. So we're going 1, 3, and sliding up to 8. But I also put in brackets here fret 3. If you don't want to slide, you could just go do, do, do. I'll play it now. So that was me sliding from 3 to 8, and now I'll do it just going 1, 3, 3. Okay, so the reason that's helpful is because now that we're in this higher closed position, this is a much harder target to hit than was when we were sliding to the fret 8. The reason being that the frets get thinner as you climb the neck. So this is a less reliable slide. I'll do it again, and let's see how it sounds. There, I made it. But see, I messed it up a little there. So unless if you're staring, the thing is, if you want to stare at the neck, if you're playing this on your own, it will sound better with a slide. But if you're at a party or something, I wouldn't slide. I would just go like that, because then you don't have to take your eyes off of your audience. You know, you can grin like a clown, and everyone's saying like, "Wow, how did he do that?" Okay, so that was me going 8, 10, 10, and that allows me to address my audience as I finish instead of having to stare at the neck to make sure that I get this slide right. Okay, so I hope that was a good bit of info. I think I explained that just right. Okay, this is the last thing we're going to do today. I can't believe it. And what do you know? It's another sports song. I guess there's a theme going here. I really like playing the song guitar. It sounds great in the key of C. I'm not sure what key it's really in, but it sounds just amazing in the key of C. Because similar to that Bach tune, we can end on a really nice open C chord. Now, I did want to mention today that Tin Pan Alley, this song was written during Tin Pan Alley era, and all the best guitar teachers that I've ever had always would pepper little bits of music history throughout our lesson. right? It wouldn't just be technique, go, go, go. There would be breaks where it would say something about what it is that we're playing, why we're playing it. And this is a piece of music history that could be extremely interesting to your students, and you might even inspire them to check it out and see what it's all about. So I'm not going to explain to you Tin Pan Alley and sort of the birth of popular music as we know it today, but take a look at that and see what it's all about, and it gives you something to explain to your student. Okay, so this is the last thing I will play today. Take Me Out to the Ball Game. It's harder than it looks. Alright, so the reason it's hard is this little run down here will be hard at first, and some of these other runs, but boy do they ever feel amazing once you get them under your fingers. So this is a perfect song for a beginner. This is what I would call sort of an advanced beginner song, and it's very much worth your time no matter what level you're at. So look, that's everything I wanted to do today, and thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun working this out with you and exploring the instrument. So get ready for part 2. We're going to look at picking and scales tomorrow. Well, I guess I might film it tonight. We'll see. And thank you for staying with me. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you soon.